So I talk a lot of shit about shit that I've written over the years. So I have what a producer friend of mine calls the pile, where for the longest time I would just get a random idea and I would just start writing. I would get a title and maybe a couple beats out of it, and then I would just make up the rest as I went. And I've been doing that legitimately since like 2015. I currently have 23 unattached, unproduced screenplays on my desktop. Some stuff I was hardcore into making. I thought we were gonna make. Some stuff was just writing exercises. So what I thought I would do is I would go through some of my favorites that I've written, and let you guys kind of ask questions about them, and see if maybe any explained are ones that you guys are more interested than others. So I guess we'll start at the top of the list. Way back in 2013, I had moved back from living in Arizona, and I had taken an old script that I had written called Geeks, Girls, Guns, and Ghouls, and we shot a teaser trailer with Justin Silverman, who used to be my best friend, and Steve Carino, who I did Planet Mirrorball with for Midnight Show, and Todd Tuckey, who owns TNT Amusements, Abiomi, who's in a lot of my stuff, and Krista Rebel, who was my then girlfriend. She looks like Kelly Cuoco from Big Bang Theory. So we shot this teaser, and it had all really, really cool special effects in it. It was definitely the most inventive that I'd ever gotten with one of these kind of things, where we had no budget, but we did our best to try to make it look like we had a budget. So we shot Geeks, Girls, Guns, and Ghouls, and I showed it around. I got this awesome poster done that was supposed to mimic the Video Dead poster, but it wasn't going anywhere. You know, we pitched it around, tried it as a comic book, tried all these things, just couldn't make it happen. So I changed the title to Amityville Arcade, and then I started getting interest in it. So I was like, well, fuck, I should probably write a full screenplay for this. So I sat down and I wrote Amityville Arcade over a couple weeks, and a lot of CGI tests were done for this one, and location, and started building the machine and all that kind of stuff, but nothing ever came of it. So I thought I was explaining to you guys the plot of Amityville Arcade. So it would be set in Amityville, New York, obviously. The movie would revolve around a failing arcade that needs a boost. The owner of the arcade, sort of based on Todd Tuckey, very showman-y, big in the 1990s with infomercials and stuff like that. He and his trophy wife get a divorce. She gets the arcade in the divorce, and their daughter is the one running it. And she's very hard on her mother and her new lifestyle because she's divorced, and she get the new cars and the Botox and the handsome younger man and all that kind of stuff. And she goes to an estate sale on Ocean Avenue, and amongst the lamps and mirrors and dollhouses, there is a old arcade machine, and they bring it back to the arcade, and she has the employees who work there kind of working on it to kind of doctor it up, because they're going to do like a Halloween style, Bonnie and Clyde's death car, or George Washington slept here, or like, Adolf Hitler's roadster, or something like that. Like, they're going to do this kind of roadside attraction style thing with it. And the daughter is incensed because she's like, we can't afford this, so fucking stupid. And also, like, we're trying to cash in on a real life tragedy that happened in our town. So the movie is a satire about people wanting to cash in on disasters. It's also a satire about the other movies in this series. But the guys who work there are all these idiots, and they are super excited because this is their Goonies-like adventure. They were younger, they were promised this like grand adventure with the unknown, and this is the closest thing they're ever going to get to it. So they all show up there ready to go. They plug this thing in, nothing. The mother, and the daughter get into a big argument. The mother leaves. They try to start it up again, and what it does instead is it sucks the daughter into this digital world where the guys now have to follow, and now they're inside this machine. And I wrote this before the Jumanji remake came out, but it's kind of low budget style take on that. It's full of video game references, down to little things like, lines like, all your bases belong to us, and welcome to die, and they have to take shelter in Larry's Leisure Suit Emporium and stuff like that. There's a sewer level, there's a side-scrolling beat-em-up level in it. They're working their way towards the Amityville Castle to save the daughter, and so I mixed up a bunch of things, like obviously the original Jumanji and Nightmare, the anthology movie, has that arcade scene, The Last Starfighter, Lucio Fulci's The Beyond, but it's this really dark, gory, slimy comedy, and I'm really, really proud of it, and it never got made, but I thought it would be a fun way to do a completely digital world that's like low budget looking on purpose, and you would have all the stock characters that you would see in an NES game and a SNES game and Sega game and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of there's definitely a lot of Splatterhouse influence in it. A lot of Sweet Home, which inspired Resident Evil. I'm a big retro horror game fan. I never get into like more modern stuff because I don't have the patience for it. But I tried to include every single little bit of video game stuff into it, so there'd be Easter eggs on top of Easter eggs. And when I worked at Screenwave, I had them read it, and they actually really liked. They didn't realize I knew as much as what was in there, There's a lot of really, really funny jokes in it and shit. Like, they go in this one world where they're in this kind of field, and there's all these mushrooms and stuff, and the one friend picks the other one, the mushroom, and rubs it on his friend's dick, and he's like, just seeing if it would grow. Just a lot of, like, references like that in it. And it's got a light cycle segment in it, but it was all this shit that we could do. And the producer I was working with was designing these cool pixel zombies. So they were zombies that were made of like dead pixels, and he did some really, really cool shit with it. There'd be like there's a cult in there that worships the whatever the evil of this inside this world is. There's a dude who was sucked into the machine back in the 1980s when it was a Polybius machine, and he's been in there, and he's gone completely insane. So he's sort of like Lawrence Fishburne's character in The Predators, and he's got all like this different video game weapons, like Mega Man's arm cannon and stuff like that. But it would be changed enough that we wouldn't get sued. I don't know. It's really fun and different and self-contained, and it's one that I wish we would have gotten made, because Amityville Arcade was definitely one of those scripts that I was like, if we got this made, I think that people would really relate to it, because retro gaming is really popular, and horror is always popular. So yeah, so that's it's kind of the rundown of Geeks, Girls, Guns, and Ghouls, that started out as a underbelly comic book that was originally about the E.T. games buried in the desert, but then the Angry Video Game Nerd movie did that, so I had to get rid of that entire thing, so I changed it to Polybius, built a Polybius machine. Angry Video Game Nerd used that in a video, didn't thank me for it, didn't credit me for it or anything like that. It's fine. So then I eventually changed it to Amityville Arcade, gave the machine the eyes and all that kind of stuff, and it was going pretty well, and I thought we were going to get it made, but it never got made. So now I'm explaining it to you guys, if you have any questions about it, let me know, and I'll answer your questions. And I'll do a couple more of these. We'll just keep doing them, and I'll keep telling you guys about movies that I wrote. It's like 100 and some odd pages of just, there's jokes, layered jokes on every single page, and I tried to do it as fun and wild and crazy as possible. And you can tell the references to the things that I love, like Streets of Rage and all that stuff in there, because I wrote about the things that I actually know about, because there's a lot of video game shit I don't know about. But this one I did, and it's got a great poster, it's got a great concept, and that's not just me patting myself on the back. I'm actually really proud of it, and I had producers who were interested in it. It just never went anywhere. So ask your questions, and I will answer them in a separate video, and we'll keep doing more of these.